Hi all, good morning. So in last class, we are looking about a few keyword where we can put in front of the method. So unfortunately, I forgot for recording the video. So I have shared all the summary in yesterday class. So just a quickly recap. So in front of method, we can put few keywords like public, private, protected. So it will be behave same like our variable. So if we are putting private, so our method calling scope will be within the class. So within the class, we can call the method outside the class. We cannot call this method. If our scope is private, sorry, public, so we can access anywhere within class, within package, anywhere we can access at the inheritance level or has a relationship. But our method is protected, so we can access at inheritance level or same package level. So that is a access modifier. So we can put a access modifier, and apart from that, we can use some other modifier like final. So if you are putting final keyword in front of method, so we cannot override this method. So override concept comes under the inheritance. So if we are defining something in parent class and we are trying to access, we are redefining same method in other class, in our child class. So we called override, we will see under oops. So we cannot override, so final will prevent for overridden. So always final keyword will prevent for something. If we are putting in front of class, so we cannot apply any returns. If we are applying final in front of variable, so we cannot modify the value. If we are putting final in front of method, so we cannot override. So we have to put in mind. So final will prevent for something. So the contradict keyword is called abstract. So under our abstract method, so if we are putting abstract in front of method, so if some method is unimplemented, so we can put abstract in front of the method. So if any class is having abstract method, so our class will be abstract. So class will be unimplemented. So we called it is an unimplemented class. So we cannot create the object of class if our class is a abstract class. So we cannot create the object because this class is a partially implemented, not a fully implemented. If our class is abstract, so abstract will force you for the inheritance. If you want to get the feature, so if you want to get the feature, so you have to apply inheritance first, then you can use the feature. So abstract class will force you for inheritance. This question is going to ask the interview. They will ask why we use abstract class, why we use a final class, why this keyword is giving. So we have to give answer some what is the meaning, what is the we are getting the advantage. So with the help of abstract, will get dynamic polymorphism. So we will see in the future. So there is some meaningful purpose of abstract final. So every keyword is very important. So we have to give answer like that when we are using in the project. So we have to give answer like that. We don't have to give answer just memorize your mind some definition and you are giving answer. Our class is unimplemented or a partial implemented class is abstract class. No, there is some meaningful purpose. With the help of abstract class, we will achieve dynamic polymorphism. So we will see in future. So what is the meaning? What is the benefit of this keyword? So just we are understanding the syntax currently, but everything is having is meaningful purpose. Every keyword, and we have to give answer like that, how we are using in the project, how we are getting advantage in the project. So final keyword we can use, abstract keyword we can use, final will prevent you and the abstract will force you for inheritance. So if we are communicating with the two object, so we are having either relationship, either we can apply inheritance or we can apply Hazer relationships. So if two objects are communicating, so we can apply inheritance or we can apply Hazer relationship. So inheritance means we have to we have to extend the class. We have to extend the class, and Hazer relationship means we have to create the object. So if we are applying inheritance, so we can use feature only one time. Only one time we can use the feature. But if we are applying Hazer relationship, so we can create the object a multiple time. So we can create a multiple object in another class. So it is all about the Hazer relationship. But either relationship up to inheritance level, we can use the class feature only one time. So final class will force you, will prevent for inheritance. Keep your mind. This is the fundamentals. So final always prevent you for inheritance, but you can use inheritance means what is a relationship, but it will promote has a relationship. You can create the object of any class, like for example, string is a final class. So we can create this string is a given by our Java community. So we can we can not inherit this class because it is a final, but we can create the object anywhere. That means it is has a relationship, so it will prevent for inheritance, but it will be promoted for has a relationship. So you can achieve all string class feature with the help of has a relationship. That means we are creating the object. So the contradict keyword is abstract. So abstract will force you for inheritance. Inheritance, that means our is a relationship, but it will prevent you for has a relationship. That means you cannot create the object with the help of new keyword. Just you have to apply our extend. You have to apply extend and you have to use. So for example, our serverlet. So our serverlet technology, our server side technology, we are going to see our generic servlet, HTTP servlet. It is a given by our Java community. So it is a abstract classes. So something is implemented by the community and something implemented we have to be implemented. So there is a meaningful purpose. So when time comes, I will explain. So this fundamental part you have to be clear. So final will prevent you and abstract will force you for the inheritance. So final keyword, we have to create the object. We cannot apply inheritance. And for abstract keyword, we have to apply inheritance. We cannot create the object. So we will see over the framework level, over the technology level. This is the very important. So what we have seen so far, we have seen about a class, within the class variable, method, and we have applied some keyword at our class level, at our method level, at our variable level. So these things we have seen, but currently for today class, I am just wind up for our backend technology Java. I just want to introduce our front end development. So for front end development, uh, what will be the our roadmap and how we will learn as a full stack developer. So we are just going to see, so that you will have some mindset how we have to become as a full stack developer. So for as a full stack developer, we should know backend, we should know front end. Is a current market situation, so industry are demanding for full stack developer. They don't want any backend developer or front end developer. So they are demanding full stack developer. They are demanding we can say mirror stack. They are demanding mini stack. So a lot of terminology is going on in the market. So we are learning our full stack development. So what is the meaning about that? So any developer who can work our front end technology as well as back end technology as well as database. So who can work front end, back end, and database is called full stack developer. And where we are developing any software, we called as a full stack development. So our front end, back end, database. So currently we are learning code Java. So code Java. So we are learning core Java. It comes under the one technology is called J2AC. So core Java comes under the J2AC technology. So under the core Java, just we learn what is the Java programming, how we write the syntax Java programming, and after learning the syntax, we use the ready-made API. So our collection threading is a ready-made API. And after that, we learn advanced API like our servlet. So servlet is a one technology in the our Java. So with the help of servlet, we can create internet-based application with the help of servlet. So under the code Java, we learn about our programming, how syntax we write, and how some packages like our threading concept or collection concept or data structure. So it will be part of the code Java. But when we work over the project, over the real time project in the industry, so our application not as a standalone application, it will be distributed application that will work on multiple machines. So our system will be distributed, and we have to connect with all the machine with the help of internet. So in this case, uh, only code Java, we cannot do anything. So we have to use some technology. It will be based on the code Java. It will be based on the Java programming language. But the technology will be capable for working over the internet or distributed machine. So one technology is a serverlet, another technology is a JDBC. So if our application we are creating over the single machine, so we called standalone application. If it is working over the single machine, so we called a standalone. If our application is working multiple machines, so we called distributed. We called a distributed. So you, if you are learning any technology, any programming language, so ultimately you have to create the application. So our application will be, we can say, system application. So system application, that means it will work only single system. So system application or standalone, we can say standalone application. So it will work only single machine. So whatever we are learning, so we are just writing the program, we are executing the program. So just we are executing simple program, we are writing some class and we are just getting the output. So we are just writing small programs. So we are learning the concept, we are writing a small program, we are executing the program, we are getting some output over the console. But if we write multiple classes and with the help of multiple classes we write a single application. So in the application we are applying some business, we are applying some business logic, and it is working only our machine. Lot of classes is there and it is working over our machine. So only we can access, nobody can't access this kind of application. So it is called system application or standalone application. So basically system application means our device driver operating system, and our standalone application means like our notepad, like our MS Office, which is working only our machine. So it is called standalone. So with the help of Java, we can create standalone application, but Java is not famous for standalone application. So for creating standalone application, usually we use C and C++. Usually, with the help of Java, we can create, but Java is not famous for standalone application. Java is famous for distributed application. So we will work industry. So always we will work over the distributed application. So we are not going to work a standalone type application. We are going to work in the distributed application. So distributed application means it will work on multiple machines. So our application will work on the multiple machine. So standalone means our application will work on only single machine. So it is called our uh, standalone application. But if our application is working distributed machine, like multiple machine, so it will be as a distributed application. So if we work over the distributed application, so we will create a few applications. So one application will be web application, another application it might be web services, and application will be enterprise application. So If our application type is a distributed application, so our application might be under web application, might be web services, or might be enterprise application. So enterprise application means web application and web services, the combination of web application and web services. So the combination of web application and web services, so we can say it will be as a enterprise application. So we work in the industry in the enterprise application. So ultimately, if you are learning something, any technology, anything, you are going to work enterprise applications. Lot of application will be there. It will be communicated to each other. Some application it will be a web application. Some application will be a web services. So with the help of web application and web services, we will create the enterprise application. So combination of the both type of application is called enterprise application. And with the help of enterprise application, we will do business. Our client is doing some business. So you can see lot of application: Flipkart, Amazon, Swiggy, Zomato. So all the application is a enterprise application. So enterprise application, that means we will use our application for doing some business. So if we talk about if we are doing some business and our business is not growing up, so what will we do? We will do our business in online system. So we will use our online system, we will use some technology, so our business will be growing up. So technology will be used for our business. So application will be enterprise application. So after learning the technology, you will work industry, you might get some freelancing project. So our client will give you some requirement. So as per requirement, you have to implement the application. So they will use our application for their business. So ultimately, our technology will be used for growing the business is called enterprise application. So for learning enterprise application, we have to be strong with the technology area like web services, web application, how we will use web services or web application. For learning web application, web services, we have to strong with our fundamental part. So how we are learning the language, how we are using the concept. So after uh, all the concept of our languages, so we can use under the our advanced programming for web application and web services, then we can create the enterprise application. So gradually we are going. So first we have started our backend related programming language and technology. So first we are learning Code Java, where we are learning all the fundamentals and how we are doing our Code Java programming, Code Java syntaxes. After that, we are going to see Servlet. So with the help of Servlet, our application will be internet based, where somewhere will be client, somewhere will be our server. Our application will work under the server. We will send some request and we will get some response. So for you will see, if I am sending some request, my this is my Flipkart, so I am sending some request. So the browser is a one client and I am getting some response over the browser. So I am hitting some server and I am getting some response. So servlet is a one technology. So we will create a internet based application where somewhere will be client and somewhere will be server. So our application will work under the server. So we will create our application with the help of serverlet technology. So serverlet technology is already there based on our core Java, based on our Java programming. So until unless we are not strong with our core Java fundamentals, so we will struggle with the technology. So our core Java concept thing should be strong. So with the help of serverlet, we can create internet-based application. So where somewhere will be client, somewhere will be server. One more technology, JDBC. So our application, we will connect with our database, our Java programming related data. We can insert into our database. We can get for the database. So why we use the database? So if we want to store our data permanent, permanent if we want to our store our data permanent, so we use our database. So we if you want to store our data permanently, so we have to use a database. So JDBC is one technology. With the help of this technology, we will communicate with our database. With the help of serverlet, with the help of serverlet, we will communicate with the server. We will our request will go from the some client and we will communicate with the server. Our application will be running over the one some server. So multiple software we have to use when we are creating enterprise application. So with the help of serverlet, we can create internet based application. We can create web application, or we can create web service as well. So serverlet will be responsible for the web application and web services, where we will send some request from the client, and over the server side we will get this response. So for learning this thing, so our we are sending some request from the our backend system and we are getting some response from the server. So over the backend side we are using this technology for processing the data. But you will see there is a some view. So this is a one view. Under the view you are seeing some detail like our mobile, TV, electronics. This is a detail. So this is a one page you are looking over the our client side. So for looking this page, so we have to use for creating this kind of pages, for creating the view, we have to use front end technology. So our front end means our end user will interact. So end user will interact. Our backend system means what end user want to interact. So you will see. So always we send some request from our browser, from our mobile. So this is our look and field. So it is a good. So our application will be very nice. So always user will interact with the user interface. They don't know what is the our backend system. So all response are coming for our backend system. So we will be impressed if we are having good look and field, but the data will be processed under the our backend system. So all the API, all the things, all the business logic we write under the backend system. So usually we see just a front end, and we anticipated this website or web application is very nice, but all the things is handling by the backend. So we have to strong with backend, but our view, we interacted with our end user. So anybody are using our application, so front end technology will interact, but data are coming from our backend system. So for front end technology, we are having good knowledge of HTML, we are having good knowledge of CSS, we are having good knowledge about JavaScript. So this three is a fundamentals foundation of our front end technology. So it should be strong our in our front end technology. So this is our front end technology, this is our back end technology. So front end technology means front end technology will interact with user. So if you are watching any website like Flipkart, Amazon, so you are looking our front end part. So Flipkart, Amazon, or any huge application, you can see our Make My Trip. So we are looking just a front end part, but data are coming from the back end part. So back end side, we are using some different technology, and front end side we are using some different technology. So over the backend side, it might be we can use Java related technology, we can use .NET related technology, we can use a Python related technology. So we are learning the Java. So I will talk about the Java related technology. So code Java, that means we learn the fundamental under the servlet. We can create the internet based application under the word JDBC. We can interact with our database. But in the industry, we don't use directly in this technology like servlet and JDBC. So instead of that, what we use some framework. So instead of servlet, instead of JDBC, we use some framework like Spring based framework. Spring framework we used. Advance of Spring framework we called Spring Boot. For database related things, we use some ORM tool is called Hibernate, iBetis. So we have to learn a technology and we have to be strong with the technology. But industry level, we use a framework because development will be happening very fast if we are using the framework. So same thing we can do with the technology, but it will take a lot of time and lot of effort. So client don't have much time for creating any product or any project. They want their product development should be quickly because they have to do business. They have to use their application for the business. So they want to create our application will be developed a very fast manner. So in the industry, we have to use the framework. So always you will see in current market Spring Boot, microservices, Spring Cloud. So you should have knowledge like that. So you can't work directly over this framework. You can work, there is no issue. You can work, but you will have a lot of struggle if you are not strong with the fundamental technology, foundation technology. If you are not good core Java, servlet, JDBC, you will be always struggle. You have to put some time for learning this technology and framework. So always technology want some time. You have to spend some time with the technology. So framework will nothing will you. So our your backend system always do some processing, but all you are interacting with these pages which is created using the front end technology. So you have to be create our front end technology as well. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript is a foundation, and for CSS related framework like Bootstrap, and our JavaScript related libraries jQuery. So we can use, so this is a foundation of the front end technology, but in the industry we use Angular or React in the current market situation. So for front end system, for front end development, we use Angular. So our application will be developed very fast. Similarly, in the backend side, if you are using a Spring framework, a Spring Boot, Hibernate, JPA, anything we are using our backend system, so it will work very fast. We can develop our application very fast. So we have to strong with the technology, but we have to work with the framework. You have to be strong with the technology in the backend system, and you have to work with your framework. So in the interview, interviewer always check your foundation, your fundamental knowledge. They don't ask much question about the our framework. So they always check your fundamentals. So mostly in backend system they will ask about the core Java programming, they will ask a concept of the core Java, they will use some question syntax. So mostly question will be happening over the core Java, they will evaluate with core Java, and very less question will be happening our framework. So our fundamental should be strong. So framework is nothing for you if you are strong with the fundamentals. So similarly over the front end part, we have to strong with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Mostly JavaScript, we have to be strong with the JavaScript. So we can create any front end application. So our TypeScript and React is a framework. So lot of thing already there. Just we have to be implemented. So for development over the Angular and React is easy if our JavaScript, HTML, CSS knowledge is strong. So ultimately our application will be executing with our foundation technology. Just some code will be already there and something we have to develop. So ultimately in the industry level, you have to be work over the Spring and Spring Boot, any kind of framework, and front end technology you have to use Angular or React, any kind of technology. But while learning you have to be learn all that things, you have to be maintain the sequence, and you have to be learn all that things. So you won't struggle in the industry. Otherwise lots of struggle will be there if you are not good with the your fundamental knowledge, foundation knowledge. So today just I am going to explain about our front end technology. So, as a full stack developer, we have to learn a backend as well as front end as well. So, in our current market situation, full stack developer is demanding because lot of AI tool is there for the development, lot of advanced tool for the development. So in earlier scenario, backend developer was different, the front end developer was different, because uh, there is no AI tool, no advanced technology for developing the application. But current market, lot of advanced tool is there for developing the application. So industry want this kind of a developer who can work in all the area, in a front end, in back end, in database, because we have to just understanding the thing. Our code will be generated by our AI tool. but as a developer we should have just understanding the technology. So for example, I am using one AI tool, JDBC. So I want to write my code from the scratch level. I get some requirement, so I can get some skeleton of my code, like write API. So I will give some instruction and I will get some code from the my AI tool. So I just copy paste this code and I will modify my code as per our requirement. But lot of thing I will get directly. I don't write all the source code by own. So lot of AI tool, advanced AI tool using industry. So just we have to strong with the technology. It could be front end, back end. If we are clear with the technology, so just we have to understand the code. We can reuse this code in our requirement, our application. So we have to put our requirement, code will be generated, just we have to be used. So in earlier scenario, this kind of AI tool we are not using, but time to time new product are coming in the market. With the help of product, all the source code are generating with the help of our product. So just we have to modify the code, and we have to create our application with the help of some tools. So for backend or for a front end industry don't want the resources separately. So a single developer should know everything, because they have to use the tool, they have to use Google and all that things there, just manipulate few logics and they can create the application. So we have to strong with front end as well as back end. So over the front end side, we will start from the HTML, then we will learn CSS, then we will learn our JavaScript. So with the help of HTML, we create the layout. We create the layout. So over the our front end side, so this is my web page. This is my web page. So when you are creating any application, so uh, our client is having some prototype of our application. So our application should look like that. This will be our landing page, this will be our navigation. So you can see, if you are creating some tutorial related website, if you are creating, so you will see there is some navigation bar top of the that, there is some navigation bar under the our left side, and there are some static content. This is our content. So we will create some prototype. So we will design our application. So some design team will be there. So with the help of some software, we can design our application. So first we will create some prototype. So with the help of prototype, we will decide over the our browser. So this section will be our main page. This section will be for our main page. This section will be for navigation bar. This section will be for our sidebar. This section will be for our footer. This section will be over our advertise. So this kind of prototype we design. After that, we create any kind of web application. So for creating this design, first we create some layout. So with the help of HTML, first we create the layout. Layout means we are showing data. This section we will show this data. This section we will show this data. So you can see any application. So you can see some advertisement is there, some information is there, and below that some footer will be there, and top of that some header will be there. So for creating any web application, at least we are having a header, a footer, a navigation bar, anything. So under make my trip, you can see this is our header part. At last, you can see some footer. There's some information under the our middle, our website related content. So this is a dynamic page. When we will apply something, so we will get some result according to that. If we are searching something, so we are getting the detail, the flight related detail. So if you are putting giving some input, so you will get flight related detail. So accordingly we can use this application. So for creating this application, so whatever the things which is seen by end user, where end user are interacting, so it comes under our front end technology. So for creating the layout, we create HTML. Layout means the section. This is a section, our footer, header, main page. So it is called layout. Layout means what? Where we are defining header, something will be header, something will be footer, something will be our navigation bar, some will be our main page. It will be main page. Our data will come over the main page. So header, footer, navigation, main, it comes under the our layout. So with the help of HTML, we define the layout. So layout we can define, we can create a paragraph, we can create a header, we can create our form. So with the help of HTML, just whatever component we want, we can create. We can create a form, we can create our paragraph, we can create a header, we can create a lot of things we can create. So just we will create. So our client software browser, over the browser we can see. But if you want to design with your layout, so what color should be there and how it should be looks like. So designing part, we have to create with the help of CSS. So design means like beautify the things, like girls goes to the beauty parlor for the makeup. So they are applying the CSS. So HTML is a some our skeleton, and CSS for our beautify or design the things, and JavaScript for manipulating the our data. So over the static content, if you are doing anything, so with the help of JavaScript, we can control over the data, we can control over the CSS part. So we can say data manipulation. Data manipulation, creation. So over the website, any website web application. So this thing I am sending over the my server side for the search. So if we are doing anything, so something will be happening over the our web page. Our search result is coming, and some loader will be there. So this is our loader, you can see. So some dynamic thing is going on over the page. So our JavaScript programming language is responsible for manipulating or creating so of the data over the web page. So usually we call the DOM. So one thing is there, DOM, document object model. So anything over the browser we consider in the form of DOM, document object model. So all that things over the page we create the our DOM object. So usually JavaScript will control our DOM. So we can create the DOM object, we can manipulate the DOM object, we can delete the DOM object. So anything are rendering or deleting or updating over the web page, like I am getting my search result. So new search result will be rendered over this page. So we called DOM object. So new DOM object will be updating, new DOM object will be creating, new DOM object will be deleting. So everything in the form of a DOM we can consider. So I will explain later because uh, it is not a straightforward DOM. What is the DOM? What is the hierarchy of DOM? Just I am uh, introducing what is our web application. So with the help of HTML, we have to define our layout, our skeleton of the our application over the web pages, and with the help of CSS, we have to design, and with the help of JavaScript, we have to control over our HTML, CSS, our data part. So I will explain. So this is our front end technology we have to use, but we use Angular or React for creating the development. So Angular is a one kind of framework, lot of ready-made code already there, just we have to use. So Angular is a one framework. One more thing is React. React is a one library. So for development, we use Angular and React. So I just write one architecture. So minimum this kind of architecture we are going to see. So this will be our backend system. So what will do? So we are having some our presentation layer, we are having some service layer or business layer, and we are having some persistence layer, and we are having some uh, database where our data will be stored. This will be our server, and server will work over one machine. So some machine will be there. So we will create the application. So this is the our machine. You can consider over the network there is machine. We are having some IP address. So over the internet, every machine we can access with the help of IP address. So we are having some layers. So one will be our presentation layer, one will be our service layer, and one will be our persistence layer. So presentation layer, service layer, and persistence layer. And our application will be running over some server. So it could be any kind of server. This is our server. So for example, we are having Tomcat server. So we will look this thing under the word serverlet technology. So just keep your mindset. I am just explaining. So over the presentation layer, we will write some classes which we are learning, our class constructor method. So the class we are going to write all the layers Over the presentation layer, we are going to write some classes. Over the service layer, we are going to write some classes. Over the persistent layer, we are going to some classes. So based on layer, our classes is having different responsibility. So we will write classes. What we are learning under core Java, we are going to write in the all the layers. So our presentation layer, we are going to write some classes. Our service layer, we are going to write some classes. Our persistence layer, we are going to write some classes, but the responsibility will be different based on the layers. So our persistence layer will be responsible for communication with database. So our persistence related classes will responsible for communication with our database. So for writing the persistence classes, we will learn the technology is called JDBC. So the technology JDBC is responsible for communicating with database. So we will see the JDBC technology. So we will communicate with some database. Database will be some Oracle, MySQL, this kind of database we are going to use for storing data permanently. So JDBC is one kind of the technology we are going to use. For our presentation layer, we are going to use Servlet. So servlet is one technology. So we will write the classes. Each and every layer we are going to write the classes. Just the responsibility will be changed. So where we are learning, so we are learning the syntax, we are learning the concept of what is the keyword, what is the method, what is the constructor, what we can write inside the class. But in the advanced programming, in the servlet, in the JDBC, just responsibility will be changed, and according to responsibility we are going to write our source code. So our source code will communicate with database, our source code will communicate with internet. So with the help of servlet, we can interact with client over the network. So we are having multiple client. So this is our one client means our system. So always we communicate with system with the help of browser. So this is our system. Under the our system, we are having some browser. So there is a one browser under our system. So we write some www flipkart.com under the our browser. So we write these things www.flipkart.com. So we write this particularly domain. So our over the internet. So over the internet, what will be happening? Our request will go over the internet, and our request will call this presentation layer under the our servlet. So this is our one system. Similarly, we are having multiple clients. So multiple client will be there. So this is our another client. This is our another client. So multiple client can access our system over the internet. So this will be request, this other client will be request with different location with different machine. They are having own IP address. So they will request to our application which is inside some server. So what is the server, how server will work, we are going to see under our serverlet technology. So we will send our request to the server, and our server will handle this request. So our code will be called under our presentation layer. So serverlet related code will be called. So our presentation layer will communicate with our service layer, and service layer will communicate with our persistence layer. So if we are sending some data from the client side, so we can store in the database, or if we are searching some data, so we can get from our database. So like we are searching this flight detail from the our client software like our browser. So we are sending some request to our this particular make my trip server. So we are getting all the detail from our database. So likewise what will be happening, we will send some request and we will get some response from the our server. So response will be prepared under the our server. So database is a one software. Our client is a one software. You can use Google Chrome or Firebox, anything. You can use a client software with the help of internet. We are accessing the data. So the technology are serverlet which will interact with our internet. So serverlet is a technology we which interact with our internet. That's why we called our server side programming. Serverlet is a server side programming. We called a serverlet. So our serverlet will communicate with our service layer, and our service layer will communicate with our persistence layer. So whatever the things is going to communicate with our database, it called the persistence layer, and whatever the layers is going to call our internet is called the persistence layer. Sorry, presentation layer. And service layer will communicate with other system or other application, or we can apply some business logic. So our calculation part or third party vendor call will be happening with the help of service layer. So our logic will be executing within our service layer. So we will see practically, just keep your mind, I have just explained. So over the presentation layer, if we are sending some web page to the client side, so over the presentation layer, we can send some web page over the client side. So a web page means what? We are going to send HTML, CSS, JavaScript file. So we will, if we send our HTML, CSS, JavaScript file to the our client side. So HTML, CSS, and our JS file to the our client side. So our application will be web application. It will be web application. It will be a web application if we are sending this file to the our client side. So our application will be a web application if we are sending this file. Keep your mind. So you should have clarity if you are working as a full stack and development. So it would be as a web application. If we are sending the particular file, particular HTML, CSS, and JS. So if we are sending some request from the client side, so under the browser you will put F12. So you can see all the resources, your website data, your Flipkart related data, source code you can see. So your JavaScript code you can see, images you can see, your CSS you can see under the our client side. So this code HTML, CSS code will come at our client side, and over the browser it will be executed. Then you can see these pages. So HTML, CSS, JS, then you can see these pages. So it is called web application. But if we are taking only data part of our client side, and only data, no HTML, CSS, JavaScript, only data we are uh, getting from our client side. So in this case, we called only data part. So data part will become in the form of the XML or in the form of JSON. So you will get data. So some JSON object will be there, or XML file will be there. Just you will get the data. No designing part, no HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So our application will be web services. So if we are sending web pages from the our client, from our presentation layer, so our application will be web application. We are getting all the pages from the our server side, but our server are sending only data part, so we called our web services. So our earlier project we are doing all that things at our server side. So we are creating some monolithic application, our web programming and our backend programming in the single server. But in the current market, we are following microservices architecture. So where our backend programming, we are doing different developer with different system, and front end programming are doing by different developer with different system. So we will look this architecture. Just you have to be understand, over the presentation layer, either we can get web pages, so we call the web application, or just we can get the data only. So if we are getting the data only, so our the uh, presentation part won't be rendering over the our client side. So just data will come from the our server. So we have to do something with our data. So in this case we use web services. So I will explain this thing later. So just keep your mind, we are having this client server architecture, where a client will be there, some server will be there, and from the server you will expect some web pages or some data part. If you are getting web pages, then your application will be web application. If you are getting only data, so your application will be web services. So with the help of the technology, we can create the web application and web services as well. So this is a minimum architecture we have looked. I will show the advanced architecture after some time. So just your mindset, I have explained this thing. So under the full stack development, we have to learn front end technology for showing data. So whatever the data we are going to show in our front end side, so we will learn. So our HTML, CSS, JS, because this data will be rendering over the our client side. So we have to be learn. And the backend side, we have to be learn serverlet technology, JDBC technology, top of that Spring Boot, Hibernate. But underlying technology, our core Java. So core Java is a underlying technology, or core programming we can say. Core Java. So it is a student terminology. We call the J2AC terminology, J2AC technology. So servlet, JDBC, this is a technology. Underlying technology will be our core Java J2AC technology. With the help of all the technology, we create the application, and our application are sending our front end technology HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So our application will be web application. If it is sending only data part, so application will be web services. So minimum this architecture we have to follow. Minimum we have to follow this architecture. Minimum we have to follow this architecture. So gradually we will go for advanced architecture. So for front end technology, we are going to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript first. So whatever data will be rendering over the our pages, so we have to create this technology. And after some time, we will interact our front end technology and back end technology. So our Java related program as well as front end related program, we have to integrate both the application. So we have to create integration application. So your website data, so the it is a looking this data with the help of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but the data are coming from the database and it is processing with the help of our backend technology. It could be a Spring Boot, anything we are using over the backend system. But you are looking over the end user side, over the browser side. You don't know how data is processing, how our database are interacting in the backend system for getting this data. You are just getting this beautiful data only, but how this thing is processing over the backend system. So we have to be learn. So how backend system is working, how front end system is working. So we will see this thing in next class. So we will continue with our core Java. We will continue, and we will understand our backend technology, and gradually we will learn our front end technology as well, our HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So we will learn this thing is deeply, and we will create our enterprise application. So ultimately we have to create enterprise application. So first we will create some web application gradually, then we will create the enterprise application. So ultimately at the industry level we have to create enterprise application. So we will see gradually. So this is a quick overview for our front end related technology. So I just want to keep your mindset for backend as well as front end as well. So we will learn front end technology as well, and we are learning currently our backend related technology. So Core Java we are learning. After that, Servlet, JDBC we are going to learn. Then we will interact. So it is pretty much for today. So we will see tomorrow.